Hey everybody, so we're just gonna kind of go through and give you a super brief farm tour because we were looking back and the last time we did something similar to this was when we had about 20 to 30 followers. So it actually I think was one of our first videos, and I am probably gonna skip the equipment part today. Maybe I'll get one of the boys to go out and talk about it after a little bit and add it on. But I personally am probably not the most knowledgeable person on our equipment. I can tell you what it is without detail, and I can also tell you approximately what we spent on it. And that is about my knowledge of the majority of the equipment we have. So we are a small family farm. We milk, give or take, 30 cows in northern Wisconsin, kind of in between northern and northwestern Wisconsin. So we are up here. It is, wonderful winter season. But we do get all the seasons, and so you will see us a lot. Currently, you're going to see a lot of videos in between outside and some in probably actually the majority of them in the barn. But after that, you will see us out in the field, just see the cows out in the fields, out in pasture. And it's just, it's a great little farm. I mean, in my personal opinion, we just love the option of being able to have a family farm yet. So what we're going to do is I'm just going to kind of give you a little rundown of some of the buildings and kind of what we have going on. And then we will head in the barn and we'll talk in there a little bit more. Okay, so I am what I like to call building poor on our farm. So we have, this is pretty much the only shed / machine shed, however you want to look at it, that we have. It was built right around, I'm probably going to get corrected on this one. I want to say the man we bought the farm from, this was originally his grandparents' farm, and this shed was built right around early 1900s, 1910, 1911, something along those lines. It is nothing spectacular. Since moving in, we did get the electric ran back to it, and it houses a lot of the tools, the kids' projects, and a lot of random farm stuff, and it also houses the three-wheeler collection, which I'm sure my kids would love to tell you more about those if you guys are ever interested. It is not heated, but it does give us a spot to at least keep the skid steer out of the way. And then we have our dairy barn. So it was built in, I believe, late 70s, early 80s. It is part tie stall, part stanchion, and it does not have a ton of room as far as it goes, as far as pens and things like that, but I'll show you that in just a second. It does have the hay mow, which is still very usable, and the walls are in really good condition for what it is. So it definitely needs a coat of paint. Hasn't got one yet because my husband and I are still debating on who's gonna win and what color it's gonna get painted. We also have the calf hutches, and we have a few more that aren't in right here. And my son's little wintertime duck coop. Okay, so one of the things we did do this summer is we were able to go from buckets, milking, no joke, into buckets and a step saver, to the pipeline. And it was a used pipeline we got put in, but it has been working well, serving the purpose that we needed it to do. So we currently are using 4 units. We do have the majority of everything for a 5th. We actually just ordered the last couple of components that we need. So hopefully we will have that up and going. I think they're supposed to be at the house sometime early next week, mid next week. We have a 700 gallon milk tank, or bulk tank, however you would like to look at it as, and just super basic setup, nothing extra fancy. As you can see, we have hard water because we have some stains there. But yeah, so I know it may seem like a minimal, because pipelines have been around forever, but it definitely was a step up for us. I know a lot of people asked why we would bother even milking cows when we just had the bucket system, and a lot of it was we wanted to make sure this was going to work. We raised a lot of our dairy cows from calves or very young heifers, and a lot of it was we did not want to get any more in debt over getting set up to milk, and then say get like 6 months down the road and we're like, okay, we can't do this, this is not feasible. Because at the time there were so many people telling us that being a small family dairy farm wasn't going to be feasible, and that, don't try type thing. So we did buckets for almost 2 years. Probably a little over 2 years. We didn't ship the entire time we milked cows. Some of it was just getting dumped, just due to the fact that we did not have enough milking at the time to ship milk. So that is one of the things we managed to upgrade this summer. So I know we were all pretty excited about that. And when we get that 5th unit, hopefully we can kind of go through and make a video for you guys on, putting it together, the different components, which I'm sure there's a lot of you who will know exactly what everything is, but I also know that there will be some of you who will have no clue and haven't really seen much of that. So that's kind of it for the milk house. We're gonna go ahead and head into the barn now, and we will go from there. All right, so it is just feeding time. So as you can tell, feeding time is pretty much all of the cows' favorites. Like I said before, our barn is a combination of tie stalls, and what that means is they have a collar on, and there is a loose chain that keeps them in their stall. We have some that are like never even basically tied up. And then stanchions would be like this. So this is much older than the tie stall option. And basically they walk in. Most of our cows know to put their head right through this as it opens up pretty wide. And then we tell them head in. They'll put their head in and we shut it. And then we have some, like this one, who is a dry cow right now. And she just really wants her neighbor's food. Which I guess I don't blame her because it is better. It's probably tastier too in the long run. Basically, they want anything that they don't have. So, with that being said, you know, is it the perfect setup? No, I'm sure not. But is it manageable? Yes. And it was already here when we bought the property. So we did a lot of updating, fixing, and a few other things just to get the barn up and going. The other thing we had to do is we had to replace a good handful of beams. Because one day, so the first year or two, we did a lot of small square bales, and as I want to say this is right as we started milking, so probably about 2.5 years ago, the beams started breaking, and it was powder post beetles, if I'm saying that right. There may be obviously a more scientific term to that. But that is what they've been referred to, and we ended up putting new beams in, which was really quite a feat. There's still a few spots that we need to put more beams in just to keep the dairy barn up and more stable and safe. So hopefully none of those are like a super important, like must do right now situation. But in the near future, next year or so, we're going to need to replace more of them. So, let's see, what else about our small family dairy farm might you guys be wondering? One, we do not raise all of our young stock. And young stock just means like calves up through heifers. We have found that when we started with a very young herd, the majority of our cows are second to third lactation right now. We have a couple that are further along than that, some that are going to be freshening in on their first calf. So we have not raised all of them. We originally started and we were going to raise them all until we realized that we were not going to have a need for replacements for a while. And then after that, if you pay attention to the cattle market right now, they are bringing very good money. So as much as we don't like letting our heifers and calves go, we have been doing so and helping move the farm along by using those funds to purchase and update things, fix repairs on equipment, machinery, any along those lines. So, you know, it's just kind of, right now it's just a business decision, and hopefully in the near future we will be able to put up a better shelter for them outside to where we can keep them and be able to raise them much better. But at the moment it's not super feasible for us to keep all of them. We are keeping some just so that we have some replacements as we go along. So we are going to get the heifers, young heifer calves that we have at the moment. some grain, and where we mix all of our own cow grain, we have not been doing that for our heifers at this stage yet. We have talked about it. We probably will grab another feed bin at some point and make that a much more feasible option. But until then, we just buy it, and which is okay because it will have better protein, more balanced minerals. It's always what they need. Lane, can you feed this to them for me, please? Actually,
This is not enough.
Make sure you get some for Flo. Oh, Flo was getting in there. Okay.
You're sorry.
All right. So just a little bit more about us is we, like I said, we're a small family dairy farm, and we really like what we're doing. Do we think we're better than everyone else that we're making YouTube videos and trying to kind of like show people what we're up to? And the answer is absolutely not. We're doing it more because we really like what we do at the moment, and we want to share it with everyone. Those of you who are farmers, raised on farms, or just like checking out small family farms, and those of you who are new to being around anything to do with the farming industry altogether. So we appreciate you guys tuning in, and some things that I'm not sure if I mentioned in the first part of the video, so I'm going to do it again, and I apologize if I am repeating myself because that was not my intention. So it's myself, and I work off the farm, as well as helping on the farm, and then there's my husband who hates being on the videos, so you probably won't see him too much, but you will see him in the background. Occasionally you will hear him talking in the background, but as far as being actually on camera, he's not there quite yet. And then you will see our two sons, who are young teenagers, 14 and 13 at the moment, who are definitely working on the farm every day. One of these videos I want to do, and I want to kind of highlight what each one of them does, and kind of show you just kind of how, I don't want to say like what their specialties are, but kind of what I'm leaning towards, something similar to that, so you guys can all learn a little bit more about them as well. And then I also just want to remind you guys that I know, so with our subscribers, we average about 20 to 25% of our subscribers are actually the ones that watch our videos. The other 75 to 80% are people who are not subscribed, and that is totally fine because I know a lot of people do not have YouTube accounts, and are not interested in subscribing to things, and I get it, no pressure. But if you ever feel like, oh, I really wish I could tell them something, but you don't have a YouTube account, you are able to email us or send us a written letter to our P.O. box. I will put that information up on the screen in just a minute, and we love hearing from you guys. I have debated, talking about the letters we have gotten and such, but I'm not totally up to date state on what the etiquette for that is, because I don't want to, per se, use people's names or tell them anything along those lines if they're not comfortable with that, and I would like to respect their privacy as far as that goes. So if you guys ever feel like dropping us a line, if you guys ever have something you just want to say, feel free to reach out. We love getting to correspond with you guys and getting to know more about you guys. Whether it is like a certain cow reminds you of one on your grandparents' farm or your friend's farm when you were growing up, down to possibly knowing what's wrong with a piece of equipment when we're struggling. So all of those things, we definitely appreciate you guys. And if you're able to, feel free to subscribe, like, follow, share, all of those things. And until then, we will see you next time.